And then this is another thing that I think is really interesting. This is their form of writing. The Nordicicos used knots and textiles to create their language, which I think is really beautiful. Right, on first glance, you wouldn't know that that's a language, or as they're calling it, a proto-writing system from Nordichico. So Nordichico is one of those civilizations that a lot of people don't know about because it kind of gets overshadowed by other stories. Then another culture that I'm really fascinated by, or kind of medieval culture in Ethiopia, is a culture, right, that built these rock-hewn churches. So if you haven't read about these yet, these are amazing. These churches were quarried from out of the rock. So they're sculptures. They're like freestanding sculptures. So they would carve out all the rock, but then they carved into the rock and carved out the interior of the churches. So let me show you. Let's see if we can see the inside here. So you can see what I'm saying here is that the structure was quarried out, hollowed out, but then the inside of the church was also hollowed out. So it's like a freestanding sculpture that you can walk in. I think this is a really good view. Also, check out the video that I posted of rock-hewn churches. It just blows me away at what they were able to do. And it's a really unique place in the world. This is in Ethiopia. I don't know if any of you have visited there, but I think this would be at the top of my list. I'd really love to see these rock-hewn churches in person. So it kind of, looking back at like a time in the Middle Ages when in Africa they're doing a really significant thing architecturally, and a lot of people don't know about these rock-hewn churches. It's kind of amazing. I've been sharing this with the people that I know. Sorry, my brother is texting me. So these are rock-hewn churches. They're found in Ethiopia. They're amazing, don't you think? All right. Then moving on. All right. So also one of the other amazing things that exist in North America, in the United States where I live, is the Native American burial mounds, and the Native American burial mounds are really interesting. Like after graduate school, I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, and I lived near a burial mound. You can see one here in the picture, and they're still to this day considered sacred sites. It's considered bad form to walk on them or to tread on them or to treat them irreverently. So they have signs and say, "Do not walk on these. These are sacred grounds. They're sacred burial grounds." And this is just an interesting text because it describes the burial mounds that exist in Dane County in the state of Wisconsin. And I'll let you read this for yourself. But what I think is interesting is notice that most of the burial mounds are in the shapes of animals. When you look at them from the air or from the aerial views. Let's get down here. I'm pretty sure. Here we go. Here's the bird mound. Here's the panther mound. Here's the goose mound. And so it's this real deep connection to nature and to a sense of place. There's the turtle mound. And these all exist in Dane County near Madison, Wisconsin. And they're amazing. Like I said, people still live next to them, and they're still respected, even in today's culture. So here's the panther mound. Here's the bear mound. And it's hard to take pictures of these because, like I said, they're a part of nature, and the trees are grown around them, and they're near lakes. But you can visit them. You can visit them, and you can walk around them, and you can kind of get a sense for what they are about. But what I think is really interesting about these burial mounds is how I want to kind of jump forward to a contemporary artist and a contemporary memorial that kind of ties, that connects to this. And this is also kind of a explanation of how you could think about this week's assignments of connecting something from the past to the present, or is there something that you live with that existed in the past or that references the past in some significant way? And that could be whatever you want. So the thing that I thought was really interesting connection to these burial mounds is this is a picture of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. It's an aerial view, and it was designed by Maya Lin during the Vietnam War. And I think what's really amazing about the Vietnam War Memorial is that a lot of people don't know this, is that it's designed in reference to those Native American burial mounds. As you notice here, it's a mound, this gash or this shape of a pyramid, which is, the pyramid is another tomb reference. So two sacred kind of ideas coming together. And people have to walk 6 feet under to view it. And some of you may know that the only thing that's on this memorial is it's black marble, and engraved in the marble the names of the people who lost their lives during the Vietnam War. And I think that this memorial really expresses that idea, and it connects to the sense of place here in America, and it connects to the Native Americans who lived here who saw burial mounds as a really sacred thing, and they're still seen as sacred. So I think that's a really interesting connection between the past and the present. And then another one that's just another example, and I'll kind of wrap it up here. I don't want to go on forever, which I probably could. Is I live in when I went to grad school in here we go. Where to go? In the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and we have these amazing train stations. This is called the Union Depot in St. Paul, Minnesota. And whenever I would go by this or visit it, it always kind of busts me up because it always reminds me of a Greek temple, right? It's kind of like, why was this structure? It was built in 1940, resembling a Greek temple, right, or a Roman temple. And one of the most obvious connection is that America has deep roots in neoclassicism and this idea of connecting to the ancient cultures of Mesopotamia, Egypt, Rome, and Greece, and a lot of America's ideals are built on those ancient cultures, and you can kind of see that reflected in its art and architecture. You can especially see it in our cemeteries, and I'm hoping to go to one of these 19th century cemeteries and get some pictures for you shortly here. But this is another example of how you could maybe think about putting your homework together, about connecting the past to the present, or seeing something in your landscape or noticing something in your landscape that connects to the past, either conceptually or literally. So have a good week. If you have any questions, as usual, feel free to shoot me an email anytime.